In today's world, almost all of humanity needs some kind of healing. Whether physical, emotional, mental or spiritual, healing that involves the search to know who we are and what our limits or resources not yet reached. Science, medicine, alternative therapies varied greatly help us every day discover natural and more subtle forms of healing that have always been there, but we did not know, we realized or believed them. The use and effects of sounds and colors are small samples of how we are opening increasingly more scientific and well-to-Western taste way because proven with visible techniques, new treatments. However, above and beyond all this is the reality of the omnipresent life, which forms us and transforms us as we learn more of it and realize their action in microscopes, telescopes, MRI machines etc. Organs, cells, blood, neurons, vibration of emotions, nothing is secret. Life, coming from a single source, in its rhythm and its harmony of tone and beauty and all interpenetra mysterios not yet manifested in fullness in our lives, because we have not put it all our consciousness, respecting their flow and its original vibrate for us. Within the whole cosmic harmony are an individualization with free will that allows us to march out of step in the natural cadence of the omnipresent love that draws us to his command and transforms us, when we lose the good and the beauty of the movement within which we operate and we are indebted to externals. In the evolutionary process of the planet, we are tasked to find the Christ, light of the world, as the essence of being. We need not give treatment to the world of God, already fully well planned, but we just show it as children, because when he created the world saw that all was well. Thus the omnipresence of God in us is the only treatment that we need to take notice, praise and express. It is in its ebb and flow, in its clear and shade, he will manifest until unite with him in heart and soul. The power of the hands in the awakening of consciousness and healing of being. Today, much is said about spiritual evolution, planetary transition, climate change, technological miracles, economic deluges. It's increasingly clear that the planet is going through a time of very intense transition. These we put on the need for breaks paradigms and the search for new standards of conduct, a thirst to see the invisible and seek any costs the antidote of our chagas poor once. This search is getting increasingly palpable. Everything comes to the surface to be worked out and resolved. For this time of transition, everything comes to the surface to be worked out and resolved. In the new age, nothing will be obscure, without receiving the light of truth, the sun of the awakening. And an example of this movement awakening of consciousness is the globalization of alternative therapies, thanks to technology and the new look that humanity comes aid queer into therapy as these that are very effective for bringing the analysis to all the vision, observing the body, mind and spirit, thus acquiring a holistic view of situalement are in contact with various therapies that follow this philosophy, world known by the name of holistic therapies. Such as Reiki, which is a system of healing by laying on of hands raised in Japan, which can also be compared to the paths used in spiritualist centers, the cyclum known as Egyptian Reiki pranic healing created in India and so on. Even with different names, the main objective is the same: to balance us, bringing back to the axis our trinity body, mind, spirit. Recalling that the hand is the extension of the heart. We can compare the Reiki energy with a massage. Energy works in all of our bodies, gross and subtle, regulating from our glands to our chakras. Energy vortex is responsible for the exchange of energy between us and the environment. It is especially suitable in cases of depression, panic, mental and physical fatigue. Also assisting in the evolutionary process of each. So despertemos for this transition that all humanity passes. Let us break our inner sun. The sun that rises and burning all our excesses, burning all our cases we use to hide from ourselves, the sun that lightens the dark of fear by putting ourselves in unity with the whole. And when trust and surrender, the sun awakened the center of our chest. For the power of healing and transformation is within us, we just need to awaken him. As Mahatma Gandhi said, the only revolution possible is within us. Reiki, magnetotherapy, vibrational therapy, flower, quantum touch, brightness frequency, constellations, pranic healing, color therapy all use the same energy. By Rachel Curry. My experience: I sought for my professional training courses in these techniques. My schedule calls, whether in the office or remotely, is always crowded. Why? Why? Because forgetting a bit of quantum physics, which sends more is the word of mouth, according to the results of each receiving these energies in Hill in the first few sessions. Many years ago, I chose to work only with therapy's briefs calls, which aim to teach and release the patient instead of imprisoning him hundreds of sessions, because the patient ends up confusing the therapist with a guru or a crutch, where only walk with your support. This is wrong. Therefore, within my PTCA therapeutic program Healing Soul program, I use several of these techniques which punctuate the text caption, to the speed of treatment. However, all the techniques used are driven by the same energy kutika auras. The patient wants constellate, okay, come on. The patient wants to receive a quantum touch or Reiki to soothe and heal your symptoms, okay, come on. But everything is moved by the same energy, which is nothing more than adequate every energy healing method that exists in the market. The most renowned physicists, quantum, energy plumbers, scientists, spiritualists, doctors and philosophers of our history, each with its own method, they use all of the same energy. But as a scientist, philosopher and parapsychologist, something bothers me in this story to share with VOC. Cada of these scientists appoint its methodology, only adding or taking a new view of an existing theory. This is not done out of malice but because it is the kind of each meeting for the advancement of science itself, explaining and teaching his new methods from his experiments and resultados porum. This cadbulio ends up confusing each more and more people who run from one professional to another waiting for a miracle. The miracle and healing is within each of us and not the therapist. Learn how to use this energy is not only useful for your self-healing, but also to balance the vibrational field of your family, your home, your work, your patients and so on. Being in harmonious vibration, cells communicate and in no time the already cured, transmit healthy waves to diseased cells and so does the healing process. Similarly, we can infect an environment and people who are on our side, neutering, harmonizing and restoring the vibration of them positively. Hence the expression, when you change, everything changes around you. Each of these philosophers, physicists and scientists from their own beliefs, did his experiments and are now on the market they and or their followers, teaching people and training professionals according to their own methods. An example, many of them say they have channeled this information by ascended masters, others by particular race than human, others say they have intuited and others who received instructions from holy apparitions, but anyway, what to believe? This is our proposal. Quantum physics studies and proven results without analyzing whether its author is spiritualist, skeptical, was abducted, etc. So the purpose of this paper is: do not be attached to any theory, learn to use this energy and, from their experiments and results, create your own technique, according to their belief and the results for you. The best story for a course or lecture is your life story. Of course, developing the gifts, learn new techniques and have sensitivity make all the difference. However, all this can be developed and learned, it is available in the universe for all those who are open to receive. Concerned about many positive results from healing reports through the various forms of energy healing, science felt obliged to investigate. After all, it could just be a placebo effect, but it was not. Thus, quantum physics is proving the existence of these energies, because regardless of the method, the results draw attention. The proven is that this quantum energy is able to recover the cells of our body from the equilibrium vibrational them. Quantum was formerly a scientific term, but that is becoming common nowadays. But we know that these energies exist and we can all have access, and that does not mean trying to understand what is quantum physics, because it is extremely complex, but the results from a technique of access to it are extremely simple. Healing of the human being a matter of justice. The perfect health is intrinsic to the human being. All that distorts the same is outside the nature of creation and as a result of a divine proposal. If we used our logic, we would understand that if a higher power, being or divine consciousness is responsible for formatting the creative archetypes of the soul and spirit, of course not commit mistakes to the point of misrepresenting his creation and making it enters into processes suffering and pain which retard their progress in the recognition and achievement of divinity itself. It is not my intention to write about the origin of human creation, just like to put that to address this issue as complex and controversial should enter the field of science and also of spirituality. Both one and the other are essential for a subtle understanding of this mystery. We work with the hypothesis that this divine consciousness or creative force has shaped our spirits and souls in a perfect structure that would allow for the fitting in creation of worlds as well as the experience of all the nuances of the same. If our bodies called inferior, which included the physical, emotional and mental body, are the projection of our souls and spirits, so why humans manifest so many serious imbalances and serious illness in all these bodies? Answers is not lacking. Take religions tell us in punishment divine, dogmas and philosophies in karmic rescue, science in somatization, spiritualists in thoughts and distorted and negative feelings. But what are the forces responsible for all human pain and suffering? Who engaged the human program and its nature, the concept of disease? Who misrepresented the pure and naive thoughts of the first Neanderthals? Why we destroy atoms and cells with our thoughts and feelings to negative results? Why are we destroying the planet is our home? Who learned the art of destruction, war, lies, aggression, death without mercy, fanaticism, greed? Or does the creator force made sure that we develop these negative attributes? Who instilled in humanity that kind of energy it took us so often the destruction, death, pain and suffering? The higher law of creation? Or maybe cosmic source called love? Ourselves? To learn? And oh, why it was always hidden and trampled our power, our light and divinity. What is behind that? Powers and dark forces. Interests of human beings and not human. Control. Domination. Our healing is a matter of justice. To recover what by nature is our health perfect. For this we must definitely end our childishness to believe that entities, masters, saints and gods will heal, will solve all our problems. Childishness and ingenuity of humanity fueled by religious orders, complicit diseases invented in laboratories who only want power, domination and gain, which stimulate the consumption of drugs that kill people. That feed on products handled by negative powers to keep us ever most vulnerable and sick. The disease was invented to dominate the human race. It does not exist in the divine creation standards. No one needs to get sick to learn something. No one needs to get sick to pay a karmic debt. No one has done anything wrong. Healing is a matter of justice and truth. A question to assume that we are humans who have the power to cure ourselves and also to heal our brothers. Check it out. In the biological or physical body are all programs that guarantee the reproduction, regeneration, balance, restoration, etc. Our thoughts plus our emotion is able to create, to move forces and energies. We are atomic power producers when evenly directed the same cure. We have information and scientific knowledge. We have a mineral kingdom and wonderful vegetable that provide all natural substances for the treatment of imbalances. Let us assume, then, our responsibilities. We extend a hand to those who need to be free from pain and suffering, regardless of which were committed his acts. Healing is not a matter of faith, forces or beings. For God creation, love is present and is in us. In every atom, cell and particle of our body, soul and spirit. True healing is a matter of conscience. To assume our role before the universe. Power, express our love and divine power. Healing can also be reached by knowledge of nature and the laws of creation. The recognition of our divinity and perfection. Healing is a matter of justice, freedom supported by love and truth. Quantum medicine and physical body, the language of healing by love. By studying only a few pages of Einstein's thoughts, I identified completely, at least at first, with their theories. When I met his famous equation E=mc2, in which he proves that all energy is transformed into matter and all matter is transformed into energy, I started to get busy to study physics. I say busy, because I cannot rest until I find scientific evidence about everything I see and feel in my heart as the body language. I began to study a little more and found one of Plato's thought that says that everything is divisible, not only the atom, but the proton, the electron into the quark nuclear subparticle in an infinite process, and it has to be something so least does not take place in space. There are many conflicts of opinion among the physicists themselves, because dealing with the primary invisible that started it all really is not easy. Language of the Body 3, Healing by Love 29. If you keep the fixed and stuck reasoning and fallible calculations, do not go anywhere. Scholars of physics know that everything is in constant motion and that it is impossible to stop any atomic motion in the laboratory. What can study is moments that make it past the second. From the quantum theory, or quantum mechanics as it is also called, theory that everything in the universe is interconnected and that there is no time or space and therefore any point in the universe can communicate with the past, present and future due to the quantum energy, which makes this universe a set of mirrors formulated in the last century by physicists Albert Einstein, Paul Dirac, Max Planck, Niels Bohr, Louis de Broglie, W. Heisenberg, W. Pauli and E. Schrödinger. Many conflicts arose between the new theory and the theory of traditional physics. The physicists themselves who developed quantum theory suffered the prejudice of society and other physical, leaving writing your feelings about Einstein, for example, said all my attempts to adapt the theoretical foundation of physics to this new type of knowledge failed completely, and it was as if the ground had been removed from under my feet, and there was not anywhere else a solid foundation on which to build something. See that from the moment they realized that the universe is interconnected and not a space full of separate objects, it has become difficult to accept for more concrete minds. For these minds it is hard to understand that we are a cosmic projection, we are the image and likeness of the cosmos or the universe, or God. This new theory that the universe is a model of a cosmic process, has been known for thousands of years by the Egyptians and Babylonians astrologers. They watched the movement of the time stars in time and realized that the personality of the stars and planets correspond to the personality of the people who were born at the time that these stars were in transit. The fear that their theories and discoveries become commonly mystical causes many scientists to slow acceptance of the obvious that the universe is showing them. The particles that exist throughout the space, not visible to many, is what makes the bridge between the macro and the microcosm, that is, what Jungian psychologists call the collective unconscious, parapsychologists 30 Christina Cairo call telepathy, astrologers call of planetary influences, and to what Jesus said, whatsoever ye shall ask, praying, believe that you receive them and will obtain. MK 1124, it is part of the quantum process. Religions fight among themselves and many repudiate holistic knowledge, but do not realize that they are practicing telepathy and psychology with a God. Part of conventional medicine also denies the existence of quantum power of the mind over the body and is not allowed to accept that they were his patients in a way that makes them independent of their own energy. Healing would be faster and integral. Many doctors have forgotten what they studied about the body's receptors and do not realize they are being activated in their patients, positively or negatively, every time they disengage them or encourage them to life. Doctors know the common receptor sites of the heart and brain, and every emotion the brain reacts on the body, but ignore that fact before the emergency rescue hundreds of patients beseeching an immediate and miraculous healing. Therefore, technical and chemical knowledge take forward to remedy pain, malaise, bleeding, etc., forgetting to treat the emotional. These people. Dr. Deepak Chopra, doctor and philosopher, living in the USA, international reputation. Deepak Chopra, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, Quantum Healing, Superbrain says in his book Quantum Healing, the brain and the heart, they have many receivers commonalities. And, what is more important, to share the same DNA, which means that the heart cell can behave as a brain cell, a liver, or any other body. After heart surgery that is done cutting the chest, it is common for patients suffering psychotic episodes and begin to hallucinate. The explanation for this is that they suddenly begin to see little green men walking around the table, because they are lying on their backs in the empty barren intensive care unit, intoxicated by the lack of oxygen in the cerebro. But, by chance, you could not blame the heart by these hallucinations? Simply, the trauma of surgery could make the heart think that the reality has gone mad, communicating such information to the brain. Quantum medicine, in turn, also sees man as a whole, in a holistic way and not as a piece that will eventually destroy. See that the human being has the same particles of the planet and the universe and that has the same possibilities of change. Dr. Sergio Felipe, neurologist and holistic medical clinic Pineal Mind, the Aclimao neighborhood in S. Paulo. Dr. Sergio Felipe de Oliveira, neuroscience and pineal, very well regarded in the medical community, says that through our gland pineal, contacts with other dimensional frequencies are performed. It explains that have crystal balls in the center of the head, that is, within the pineal gland, which is the size of a pea. And that the formation of these crystals occurs in the mitochondria. The fourth state of matter is the low-energy plasma circulating in the mitochondria. Ectoplasm is giving power to the individual. The nervous system controls the pineal, and subtle forces perform a link mitochondria and pineal, which gives energy to the body. These subtle forces are seen and proven by electromagnetic Kirlian photos of Drive and Dr. Korotkov, both Russians. I myself made several experiences in my body with these pictures, using crystals before and after the experience, and I can assure that the molecular crystal formation interferes fully in our vibrational or electromagnetic field, or aura. With this, we can understand how the pineal gland makes us transmitters and potential energy scavengers. In the ear of this work you can see one of the photos that electromagnetic experienced as for Ayurvedic medicine. For example, when she promotes inner patient encouragement for meditation, it is so that it reaches the state of blessedness. In this state, he is working the energy of the pineal gland and renewing the body energies, for the balanced nervous system allows our contact with the fourth state of matter, in which ransomed energy. Dr. Victor Matos, Ph.D. in physiology from the Sorbonne University, bioengineer and neuropsychologist of medical school at the University of Brazil, today UFRJ, creator and main promoter of the concepts of full quantum medicine, says in his book Quantum Medicine that we did not spend a conglomeration of atomic phenomena whose apparent proximity and density make us perceive them as objects. If it were possible to get at the heart of the matter, we will see that, actually, this is made up of molecules and free or combined atoms, located at great distances from each other. In conclusion, in terms of physics, we do not exist. And, what we see are reflections and reissues. The tactile sensation provided by contact with what we call objects is caused by the difference in oscillation frequencies of the atoms that compose them. The light, whatever its color frequency, is absolutely invisible because it only sees the reflection, that is, we see photons, the smallest particles of light reflected by the objects to which is applied. Thus, for this reason, the reality as it presents us is a product of our mind. The universe is mental. We see then that all Eastern philosophy has empirical knowledge of the science of men, for thousands of years teaches that we are what we think is and that everything is projection of the mind. I try transcribing simple quotes from some doctors and scientists, as quantum physics of language is quite complex. But I can say that it is not necessary to know the complex mathematics of quantum physics to understand the universe moves when we think and what we become when the universe thinks, because we are one in the universe. Transcribe a brief explanation of the Brazilian Institute of Quantum Methodology IBMQ. Its founder Dr. Victor Matos, represents a conceptual breakthrough and a considerable increase in the level of diagnostic and therapeutic accuracy. The MQI Full Quantum Medicine incorporates the biochemical knowledge and molecular biophysics, basic concepts of catalytic electrotherapy, homeopathy and homotoxicology, and concepts related to orthomolecular nutrition and bioxidativist therapies. It proposes a performance at various levels of interference, such as atomic, molecular and intracellular. It is facing new paradigms, which greatly simplify the approach of clinical conditions, particularly chronic, in which conventional therapy performance is clearly limited or insufficient. I hope that with this summary information, you noticed that the quantum work is a movement total being and that all invisible forms of life influence the material world and vice versa. Therefore, it is important to note that the mind is responsible for all the events in your body and in your environment. It is through the thoughts and emotions that allow the disruption of our vital field and connections, livable and invisible beings, for our good or for our evil. I believe that we are governed by various forms of energy and they often dominate our reason, but I also believe that with our spiritual evolution and expansion of our consciousness, the energy of love will be our shield to the health and peace, as the domain of the mind is to keep firm thoughts of joy, forgiveness and optimism, that our brains send large messages to all our body cells and also to our etheric body. peace and health depend on how we raise our vibrational frequencies, and the only way we have to achieve this evolution is the willpower to think only of good things and away, with conviction, any thoughts of sadness, outrage, anger, fear, critical, control over people's lives, jealousy, envy, revenge and attachment to possessions. These are the great challenges that the human being in its path and many have won. So, throw this challenge to yourself and know your great inner strength to transmute. Visualization exercises transform our bodies and our environment. Visualization, create a thought or a story in the mind produces in the body and the environment what was thought. Even if you do not take account of the thoughts passengers every day, they are interfering with your destiny or karma. Sometimes even spiritual people who believe in the laws of the universe are confused or disbelieving due to events in their lives. They say they never thought of, so could not have created such a situation. I believe that for the most real people in your thoughts is absurd to claim that what we think happens in our lives. That's why we need to talk in more detail about the human mind and show that not everything that can be thought remembered. Only through hypnosis, child regression therapy or meditation is that you can tell if the person thought or not in such a situation. Hindus know what you thought in the past looking at your body in this, because your thoughts are recorded in the format and quality of your body. Deepak Chopra says if you want to know how your body will be in the future, see your thoughts today, and that, our body is the physical picture, 3D, what we're thinking. This remarkable fact escapes our observation for several reasons. One is that the physical contour of our body does not change so drastically every thought. Nevertheless, it is evident that the body projects thoughts. Literally, we can read the minds of others by changing their facial expressions. As ourselves, even without notice, also recorded the thousands of gestures of body language as a sign of our state of mind and intentions of people to us. Secondly, we see our bodies as design thoughts because many physical changes they cause are inconspicuous. They involve minimal changes in cell chemistry, body temperature, electrical charge, blood pressure and so on. Our body is sufficiently fluid to mirror any mental event. Nothing moves without moving the whole. The latest neurobiology findings have further strengthened the idea of parallel universes of the mind and body. When the researchers continued beyond the nervous system and the immune began to discover the same neuropeptides transmits of cells of neurons and their receptors in other organs such as the intestines, kidneys, stomach and heart. This means that our kidneys can think in the sense that can produce neuropeptides identical to those found in the brain. The thought, personality and a person's temperament can change until the effects of a remedy, as the nutrients of food. Therefore, people suffering from the stomach, for example, should relax more and stop worrying excessively with situations that can be shared with others or to be placed in the background. When you say or think about happiness, your cells also think like you, due to similar neuropeptides. People suffering from blood diseases, for example, is because they feel very sad and unhappy with the life you are leading. The cells in your blood feel the same sadness and cannot properly metabolize glucose to turn it into body energy. Each condition has a direct correspondence with a thought and therefore with an emotion. Therefore, to have health, we must learn to think and feel. Our emotions have been learned from childhood, the contact we had with the first people of our life. Hence all our reactions to problems, fears, losses, betrayals, etc., are the result of beliefs that are installed in our unconscious, even more distant past that we keep in ourselves. The last of our fathers is also printed in our genes, and this statement is scientific, but that does not mean we are slaves of immutable destiny. We are in this life to evolve and learn the reorganization of our soul and our beliefs that have been distorted by the times of low vibration of our planet. Persist in a healthy thinking, without fear, without trial and without anxiety, and you will prove in your life that your thoughts have links with the thoughts of others, which will bring to you what you envisioned. The collective unconscious, evidenced by Jungian psychology, remains 24 hours in the air, and you must learn to navigate through the synchronicity of this mental universe, to gain a new situation in their daily lives. Time brings to us all that we fear and everything we want good, and it often happens that good things do not come to you. It's because your daily thoughts are not in complete harmony and serenity with the subtle energies. Do Hatcha not wanting to part only of his rigid will? We will gradually eliminating the stones of their inflexible beliefs, until you can walk towards what is really essential for your journey. The universe meets the good and the bad also because, for the cosmos, all thought is creative force. So beware of the thought forms that you have created by habit. Light team is invincible. Some examples of alternative therapies: conventional medicine, study and consultation; 1 aromatherapy, 2 color therapy, 3 crystallotherapy, 4 therapy floral, 5 homeopathy, 6 dowsing, 7 acupuncture,